Not all losses are created equal. Did you know some defeats actually make you stronger? Sounds backwards, right? But in Cow Dragons, losing because you're overpowered isn't the same as losing because your alliance didn't show up. Today I will break down how to tell the difference and why one is fine and the other one is deadly. We will cover effort, activity, matchmaking and growth. So I'll start with effort loss versus mismatch. If you fight hard but you lose to whales, that is respectable. And we see that many times in Call of Dragons when one alliance is facing against some extremely strong one, and obviously they're going to lose. One of the things is, even with less people, having a whales in the combat is something that, you know, they have better heroes, better artifacts. I mean, I can go on and on and on and people, you know, will get it, but at the end of the day, if your alliance are way more weaker but still show great presence when they're fighting, this is respectful, and the majority of the times, even that alliance is losing, they still going to get the respect of some whales and they're going to join and make this alliance stronger, because people are watching not only for our KVK or for some other KVK. People are watching and they make some, let's say, educational decision what to actually do and should they actually join in this alliance if they're looking to switch the alliance. But this is respectful when you're facing an extremely strong opponent. On other side, the things is not like this when your opponent is extremely weak and you're not able to defeat this extremely weak opponent. Okay, let's say not extremely weak, but way less power from your own alliance. But how this thing actually can happen at the end of the day? How one alliance that is not having that many, let's say, that many strong players, how can they actually win? And the simple answer about this is activity is a king. When players don't walk in, flags don't get built, and rallies don't get filled, this is a bad lose. And yeah, we're start talking about the activity. Maybe so far in my, how to say it, Call of Dragons career as a content creator, from where, you know, I check out the alliances, obviously I'm also making some guides and etc. But so far, maybe the only alliance that keep hold for that long is actually Echo. So the bad boy of Echo Salt is holding somehow the key of keeping his alliance extremely well performing and not having these activity issues. But so far I see activity issues in almost every alliance. That's why I said that the majority of the time the lifespan of one alliance is around maybe 4 or 5 seasons. And one of the things is the alliance just gets more and more dead weight after each season. Now, right now it's way more easy to migrate out. For example, when I did the migration, it cost me like 22 permits to do it. Normally was back in the days like 55 or something like this. But slowly the death weight is generated, and by death weight just people get some stuffs in the real life and there is just not that much time left to spend playing Call of Dragons. And from there starts the activity issues, which, you know, nobody like it, nobody wants to talk about that. But if you have prime time at specific hour and only like maybe 40 people show up, 30-40 people, which is still good number. Okay, it's not that good number, but not many people show up, you know, the things are not looking good. And that's why I think activity is a king. You definitely, for example, the gate open. I think maybe one of the biggest events in Call of Dragons is when the gate open. It didn't actually matter for which KVK we're talking about, but at least from my experience, when the gate open, the majority of the players walk in. And from there start building, some stuff placed to actually stop the building, timing when the building buff is there, and etc. So yeah, so far I don't think the majority of the alliances have issue with the gate opening, but you know, the other thing is filling the rallies. And here I'm going to be honest, a big percentage of the rallies that we're watching, or the fights where a rallies is including, I don't say players castle, but let's say gates and also bastions. I don't know how this happened, but like crazy percentage of the bastion fights can be avoided. No, this is not a joke. Big percentage of the bastion fights can be avoided. And by looking that this fight can be avoided or is extremely pointless because we basically don't need to attack the specific bastion, the majority of the players don't feel the rallies. This is one of the things, because I see so much dump rallies. Obviously, Krakens and whales can do whatever they like, but for the normal people, it's like, you know, if I go and join this rally, why we're doing? Are we going to get territory or something like this? But if there is nobody present from point of the activity, even if the person want to fill the rally, he's not going to be there. He's not going to fill the rally. So I think activity is also extremely important. The other thing is matchmaking isn't a personal thing. Sometimes the breakers just put you against some crazy alliances, some monsters, and this is not failure. Now it's little give this bad taste for like fighting against extremely strong alliance, and at the same time, you know, this KVK, the rewards there is going to help you buy a lot for getting more pet skills in form of the shards and etc. But this is not an issue. I mean, it's an issue, but it's not a failure if you're facing way more stronger alliance and you just didn't make it. And from there, maybe the main responsibility for the leadership is actually how can they set the realistic expectations for their teams. I think the leadership have to have realistic expectation for what they can do and etc, because you know, big words is not working that well in general. But still, it can boost the morale. And yeah, if nobody show up on the battlefield, this break the morale of the people that are there. It's like you're coming with your 5 legion, for example, and you see the enemy is like 2-3 times more from you, and you're like, it's not going to be that crazy good traits. Most likely it's not going to be good traits. And that's why I strongly suggest, if somebody want to get merits, push with your alliance. This is, I don't know, the most universal advice I can give for the people looking for more merits. Is when your numbers is in your favor, is way more easy to actually get merits from this to when the enemy numbers is way bigger. The majority of the times you're just going to get attacked from multiple places, and this is not working in your direction. So grow and defeat, this is it. A loss with effort leads to better discipline and strong recruitment next season. And this is also something that I want to point out, is even if you lose the right way, I mean by defeated by way more strong alliance. And I can actually give an example this season and why I think MFD is going to get pretty some nice recruits. And this is when MFD was defending the gate against BTX. That was in the zone 3, where BTX was actually trying to jump in the zone 3. I mean, that was one of the best fights of the MFD because they have way less power from BTX, but they managed to somehow get it and defend this zone, and this make huge impression. And since I was on the other side, on the BTX side, attacking, the numbers didn't actually drop. The numbers didn't actually drop. The people was sending even donkeys with frost ring, like 20k cavalry with frost ring. Everybody was actually putting crazy effort to defend this gate, and this make a huge impression, and it's one of the main reasons I'm currently in MFD. So this is little sensitive topic, to be honest, losing activity against losing to power, since yeah, this is going to be a phenomenon that we're going to see more. We're going to see in every game where you have like 10 people that is playing, and after like 2 months or 3 months from this 10, maybe 7 or 8 are playing. But yeah, I mean, it's a game. We have to accept that and continue growing. But definitely the activity, if you want your alliance to succeed, you have to be active in your alliance. This is the bottom advice I can actually give for the people who are looking to actually win their season. You just have to be active and help your alliance to achieve that. At the end of the day, you're going to get the same rewards like everybody else when you're winning. I mean, the 200 people are going to get, for example, the shards and etc. So yeah, this will be for this video. Just wanted to point out one issue that I see in some of the alliances about the activity. What is the difference between losing to bigger power and losing by the activity? And the moral of the people who is facing there, who is fighting there. And yeah, so yeah, wish you a great day, guys, and see you in the next video. Let me know in the comments if you want to add something, maybe some example or whatever. And yeah, see you in the next video.